Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the mobile arena. And for today, in this video I'm going to talk about some of the ideas and tips I have for iOS 7 and how we can run iOS 7 in the smoothest and most streamlined way as possible. I know it might be a bit late to post an iOS 7 video, especially since it came out a while ago, but I mainly wanted to try it out for a few days before actually just throwing up a video and wait for all of the bugs to be ironed out. So that is why I'm making the video now. And in this video I'm going to list 7, maybe 8 things in total which I do to make sure that the phone runs as efficient as possible on iOS 7. And hopefully by following these tips I can also help those of you who are using iOS 7 for it to run smoother. Now let's get started. The main thing that me and many other consumers have problems with is the animation zoom in, and luckily Apple has patched that up by allowing you to disable it. But the problem is that not only is that not a lot of people know that it's possible, but it's a bit hard to find in the settings. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I mean you have the ability to disable the zoom in and zoom out, and the worst thing is that it slows down closing the app and going back to your home screen by a lot. As you can see, it's pretty slow, unfortunately. Like when you go back out to here, that's when the slowness is very apparent. Now to disable that, we just go into settings, and oh, I was already there. We go into settings, we go into general, accessibility, and we go to reduce motion. And once you turn that on, all of the motion gets reduced, and it just becomes a fade in and fade out animation, which makes it a lot faster, like so. Let me just give you a quick demo. As you can tell, especially when going back and forth between apps or even going to here, definitely things seem a lot smoother and faster, which is a relief. And that's one of the key things that I think would enhance your experience using iOS 7 a lot more. Now the second thing is reducing the contrast, and that is also found in accessibility. So we go into settings, general, accessibility, and use increased contrast. So instead of having that clearness, things are a lot more bolder and darker. So let me give you an example. One of the good examples of that is they like to have this kind of colorful, clear background, and to make it more translucent. But in the long run, it actually makes it uses a lot more graphics, because we're trying to create that effect where there's a translucent background and such. So to disable that, we just go into accessibility and increase contrast, and even for the nice button here, it changes so that it's not as transparent, like so. So it's darker, and which means that it should move a lot faster. As you can already tell, when I was pressing it, it was a lot faster. Also, this bar has changed, so it should be a lot smoother as well, since it doesn't have to animate the background and calculate that. Same for the camera, where before it would show the translucentness. Instead here it doesn't show it anymore, and it's just a plain nicer color. So that is another way to speed up using iOS 7. I also actually like the increased contrast. I like it being more darker, and I like how this is more white gray rather than showing the translucency, but that depends on the user. It reduces the graphics overall. the next thing we're going to look at, the third thing, is getting rid of the background app refresh. It depends on what kind of the user you are, like you said, but these are just my ideas and tips and the things I do to make iOS 7 run as fast as possible. And once again, you go into general again from settings, and we go to right over here, background app refresh, and you can turn it on or off whether or not you want it to refresh. And like it says, it even tells you turning off the apps may help preserve battery life. So it really depends on you. For example, if you don't always need the app to refresh, such as Line, it's a Wi-Fi messaging service, or you don't use stocks or weather, or you're not always using Google Maps, and you don't really need it to be refreshing in the background. And you can also choose which ones that you want for it to refresh, and for me, I just turn all of them off. I'll say disabled background. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the passcode lock, and I can't really show much of that, but I disable it as well. So we go into general and passcode lock, which is right here, and is off at the moment. And if a lot of people also have that problem where it is turned on by default because they set it up for you way in the beginning when you upgrade to iOS 7. So you can go into here, you type in your password, whatever it would be, and you can turn off your passcode here. That way you can open your phone quicker, and unless you have sensitive data, then that's another thing. But generally I don't really use the passcode, so I disable it. And then the next thing we have, the fifth thing, is dealing with the location services, and that is also one thing that I turn off. And in theory, it should preserve more of the battery life, since it doesn't always have to know where we are. And for that, we go into privacy and we turn location services off. And I understand that for those of you who use the map a lot, you'll want this to be turned on, so it really just depends on your preference. But if you don't use location services such as Google Maps often, like if you're just going to work or such, you can disable it, so then it's not using your battery as much. Now, since we're in privacy anyways, we can also go here and limit the ad tracking. So it will help you for ad tracking. It sort of tracks what kind of websites you go to, and it shows you the ads that you want. And you can disable that by going to advertising and limiting the ad tracking. Right now I'm not connected, so it is trying to load, but you can disable it from going settings and then privacy and then advertising at the bottom. Now, the last thing that we're going to look at is some options in the iCloud. And for the iCloud, you can choose to turn off two things. One is the Find My Phone, which is disabled right now, and the keychain, which is also disabled. And this one keeps your password and credit card information up to date across your devices. So it really depends on how you use it, but I can't say for certain, but I would feel the majority of the users might not need this kind of encryption for whatever they're using. But if you do, then for all means you can keep using it. But I disable it. And also for Find My iPhone, it's used as a failsafe, so that if you do lose your phone, you would be able to find it using their way of tracking. But I can say in confidence that for people who are especially trying to steal an iPhone or trying to steal whatever device, they can easily get around that and just find a way to not have you track it. So honestly, I do find these pretty useless, these Find My iPhone such. I know that there are actually good programs and good hardware out there that can help you track your phone, but in general I find My iPhone to be quite useless. so I disabled that as well. So in total, those are all the things. I think I listed 7 or 8. We have reducing the motion, increasing the contrast, disabling background app refresh, disabling the passcode lock, disabling locational services, disabling the advertising tracking, disabling the keychain, and disabling the Find My iPhone. Now hopefully with all of the things gone, your iPhone will be able to work a lot smoother, and it will lag less and hopefully not be as buggy as it might be from the beginning. Even though I can say in confidence that since the 0.3 update, iOS 7 is already a lot less buggier, and the reduced motion has really streamlined the app, the iOS, the operating system to be smoother and quicker and more responsive. So feel free to leave comments, questions, suggestions, criticisms about any of the ideas I presented today. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.